Assalamu alaikum, my dear friends. It's very good to be with you. I want to deal with a question and I'll give the answer afterwards. If somebody asks you, what does the Qur'an really offer you? What is in it for you? What does the Qur'an give you? Now, I could imagine if you stop a Muslim on the street, any Muslim, and ask them, what does the Qur'an offer you? They will say the Qur'an gives us the way to Jannat, paradise, or somebody might say the Qur'an saves us from the fire, from hell. Those would be very typical answers, because Muslims in general are very motivated by those two visions in the Qur'an, which nothing wrong with. The Qur'an uses those two visions as a sort of dread and desire, so desire versus dread. So you go for the thing you desire and you try to escape the thing you dread. But if you ask a more intelligent person that needs more than just fire or paradise, what is in the Quran for you, they will probably answer you something like, it shows me the right way, it points me in the right direction. And that would be absolutely, I think, the idea that I want to get at now. Now, if you don't know the word, the idea of direction, of giving direction or guiding, Hedaya, that word, the ha, dal, ya, appears 316 times in the Quran, as you can see there. 316 times in various forms. And so it's a very crucial concept. It's a concept that we need to explore a little bit more. Now, yes, you've heard the word Hedaya, and when you probably think of Hedaya, you think it is the way to the right path. It is the right path. It is doing, getting in the right direction. But here in this video, I want you to expand your imagination now. You see, we are not just Islam, or Qur'an is something that unlocks success and flourishment, not only in your religious life, not only philosophically, because philosophically is just one dimension of who you are. An ordinary human being have so many dimensions. You as the father, you as the son, you as the brother, you as the financial operator or financial entity, you as the spiritual being, you as the lover, what is there? You as the professional, you as the professional practitioner, as the doctor, as the lawyer, as the physiotherapist, pharmacist, as the architect, engineer, whatever. So there's so many faces of you. And I want you to think of that word Hedaya again. And think of Hedaya as being guidance, direction in your business, in your profession, in your family life, in your economic life, in your financial life. Every day we are bombarded by decisions in all of those spheres of our life. As a father, I'm called on to think of big decisions. As a professional, I'm called on to decide and to think on so many decisions. And I want you to think of that word Hedaya again. The Quran says in this verse, let's quickly look at this verse where the Quran speaks about Hedaya 5 times in this verse. قُلْ هَلْ مِنْ شُرَكَائِكُمْ مَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ قُلْ لِلَّهِ يَهْدِي لِلْحَقِّ أَفَمَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ أَحَقُّ مَنْ يَتَّبِعُ أَفَمَنْ لَا يَهْدِي إِلَّا أَنْ يُهْدَى فَمَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. And the meaning of that verse is, ask them, can any of your false gods, can any of the false gods you co-opt alongside God point you to what is right? In other words, give you Hedaya. Then answer for them. The one true God points to what is right. The one true God gives Hedaya. So then, is that which point to what is right, is that which gives Hedaya, not entitled to followership, rather than that which cannot give Hedaya point to what is right, unless it itself is shown the way? What is your logic then? How do you judge? Now, the gift of the Qur'an is that it actually, in a very mysterious and a mystical way, also, once we commit to its teachings, once we commit to its parameters, once we commit to the broad picture that there is a God, that there are angels, that there are prophets that came with guidance, that there is a year after, that there is a judgment, there is a reckoning, there is presence. God does control everything, and we are here, for a limited period. Once you embrace, once you buy into all of those, once you succumb, commit, admit, affirm all of those things, then that hidayah, that guidance, comes to you not only in the form of religious guidance, my friends. Then that guidance starts affecting or starts benefiting you in every sphere of your life. As a businessman, as a professional, as a father, every sphere of your life. And what happens then is that there is no longer any random occurrences to you in your life. You see, random occurrences are occurrences that nature just throws up. The weather that day, the temperature that day, the amount of traffic that day when you were out. The universe then conspires to work with you, my friends. And that is the hidayah that the Qur'an offers. Once you admit, once you submit, once you commit to this book, to this Qur'an, you now walk not as an ordinary lost creature, but you now walk with both your feet, both your hands, and both your eyes, and both your ears, being fully guided and supported by the creator of the universe, by the master of the universe. And then there's no more random occurrences. You see, if you then have a fender bender in the traffic, it's not a random occurrence. It's supposed to happen. When you then knock your toe, it's not a random occurrence. It's supposed to happen. When you then get a cold and you feel sick that day and you're staying that's not a random occurrence. Now it's meant to be that way. And that is the idea of the word Hedaya, is that we become sort of adopted by the supreme master of the universe. All the beings that are executing the will of that supreme master, what we refer to as angels, Jibril, Mikael, whoever they are, who are organizing the universe, who are involved in setting up things, as the Qur'an says, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr tanazzalu al-malaikatu war-ruhu fiha bi-idhni rabbi min kulli amr. Every matter is arranged and is organized and is set up in a particular way by the angels and by the Ruh, Jibril. And when you walk in that admittance, in the admittance of God, then your matters are all arranged. There's no longer any chance. As a professional, you cannot but thrive. As a father, you cannot but thrive. As a husband, you cannot but thrive. And obviously the same for the women, as a wife, as a professional woman, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister. You cannot but thrive. And that hidayah, that sense of having your feet, your hands, your eyes, your ears, all directed in the right direction, is there until you disobey, until you reject the will of Allah or go against His way. But even if you get sick and you have pain and you're lying in bed, my friends, these are all part of the bigger scheme. And we say, Alhamdulillah, if you've followed God's way, His instructions, and unfortunately you fall ill and you have a tremendous amount of pain, we say Alhamdulillah, because this is part of the plan. Now, does this affect the world? You see, the Muslim, the mu'mineen, or the people who are admitting to the Qur'an are in a tough place, and I feel so despondent sometimes, and I feel so depressed when I look at Gaza, when I look at Lebanon, when I look at all the places. When I look at my own country, I see the poor being oppressed and suffering and having no access to a meaningful, rich and fulfilling life. It hurts, it pains me to see this. And you almost feel, what can I do? But I want to remind you that, you see, anything that happens to a sincere human being, anything that happens, is meant to happen. And only good will come out of difficulty. And the Qur'an says, Inna ma'al usri yusra. After hardship brings ease. Hardship produces ease. And so all we can do is we can pray for those in pain, those in suffering. But the Hedaya, the guidance of God, is on our side. And ease will follow hardship. An important thought also when we see the suffering is, every person can only die once. It will be a death with pain or without pain. And that goes for every person. And every person must die. Every person can die once, and every person must die. Isn't that the great equalizer? When I think of Gaza, I think they've died. They've given up their life. Their life was taken from them by the enemy, by the evil beast that is devouring everything. But the beast itself, the members that make up that beast, must all die. And we and them, we have that in common. We will all die, and we will all die once. But it is the reckoning and the year after that we really then see as the place where our actions, our behavior will stand us in good stead. So the word Hedaya, my friends, just to remind you again, it is not a word that refers only to religious direction. It refers to direction in every sphere of our lives. Let's keep that in mind.